Hello to all you hip skips out there.
And welcome to The Jungle. Join Disney historian David Dr. Skipper Marley and art director and crooner Trevor Kelly as these former jungle skips explore the world of Disney, pop culture, and theme parks. But hold on tight, because just like a jungle cruise, their conversations often head deep into uncharted waters. Now, grab a seat and enjoy Expedition 31, the DCA Glow-Up, Sleeping Beauty's Murder Hole, and I'll take Tinkerbell for 500. Move it up, skips.
Welcome, everybody. I want to start off this podcast with an announcement. I have hit peak white trash.
Oh, wow.
I had the most perfect white trash moment.
Is that why you're wearing cutoffs? You can't see it at home, but...
They're Daisy Dukes. Thank you. But it was so perfect. So, okay, I'll tell you as quickly as I can. There's a great couple, Keith and Sissy, who are from Portland. They were at Inhuele in Atlanta, where I was last weekend, and he's never been to a Waffle House. So I'm like, we're taking you to Waffle House. So Sissy and I, we walk him like a half mile to this Waffle House in downtown Atlanta. And we're sitting there having breakfast. And while I'm having breakfast, I noticed like a piece of my tooth fell out. Like as I ate eggs, I just noticed it like comes, and I take it out of like the tiniest little, like a small, like half of a Tic Tac. I take it out of my mouth and I went, I was at a Waffle House in Georgia and my tooth fell out.
Oh my God. That's
a white trash hat trick.
That is,
right?
It's like a country song.
I'm making my ancestors proud with that one. I am. That's my Texas roots right down there.
Oh my God.
Yeah. So I saved a little piece of tooth.
That's
I'm
fantastic.
like, I'm saving this because that's the fell out at Waffle House tooth. I don't know if I get like a prize or like a Waffle House hat or what I get. So that's the thing. So I went to Inhuele in Atlanta for the weekend.
How was that?
It was so much fun. This was their fifth one. I think it's bigger and better than ever. And the people are fun. It was great. The only problem is it never got above 40 degrees.
Oh, God.
And one day, it's about a block away from Trader Vic's.
Okay.
Atlanta, where I had the best Mai Tai of my life. I went back. I'm like, was that really a best Mai Tai or was I drinking? Yeah. It was the best Mai Tai of my life.
Really?
And so while I'm walking there, it was like 22 degrees. Walking back, it was 18 and windy.
No.
And I lived in Washington, D.C. for 5 years. It never got that cold.
What does Inhuele mean something?
I have no idea.
Does it translate to
it
something?
It means Atlanta is cold. Well, that's the thing. I've only been to Atlanta in the wintertime now. So I was watching a Dateline and it said, in Atlanta. And I'm like, oh, that city's cold.
I looked it up.
Yeah.
Inhuele means cocktail journey.
Really?
It does.
That's definitely what we were on.
Apparently.
Because I had plenty of those. I made a couple trips to Trader Vic's.
Very nice.
Yeah. And gave a couple talks. I did a talk on Skipper Stories where I just shared stories from the book and some stories that I haven't like released or talked about before. That was fun. And then I did a talk where I explained the history of Disney Tiki.
Okay.
And they were both just a blast to do.
It looked great.
The crowds were there and everybody was excited and like asking good questions. And
oh my gosh,
it was so much fun. I honestly feel like I have friends in Atlanta now.
That's
like,
awesome.
I could hang out with these people and whatnot. Yeah.
Wow.
They're very, very, very nice people. Very cool people. Yeah.
And Waffle House.
Can't wait to go back. And Waffle, freaking in walking distance.
See, that alone.
Half mile away.
Gets me there.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
They should have a Waffle House in like a theme park out here.
Yes, they should.
I feel like Knott's Berry Farm would be a good place for a Waffle House.
They should have. That's perfect, actually.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's a little rough around the edges there.
Right.
You can't have it in Disneyland. That's too nice.
No, you can't have fights in Disneyland. That's what Toontown is for.
That's right.
Yeah. What's weird is I did a talk where I'm going to Tiki A Go-Go in Orlando the first weekend in April. So if you're in Florida, Orlando area, come see me, give some talks. And one of my talks is about Skipper Stories, where I share stories.
Yeah.
And a couple of mine I shared. I'm not going to share in Orlando because I'm like, I'm really the bad guy in this story. I'm like, me telling it makes the audience go, yeah, that sounds like you, Marley. And I'm like, yeah, I'm not going to. Yeah.
It's weird because when we were at Jungle, there was definitely, like in rap, an East Coast, West Coast rivalry.
There was.
And now so many kind East Coast skippers have reached out.
It's great.
I love it. It's fantastic. They've been all like super, super cool. So shout out to our East Coast skips.
Yeah, we love our East Dock skips.
Yeah.
They were so nice to us when we were out there in 2017.
That's true.
We were eating at the Skipper Canteen. We hadn't been to Jungle Cruise yet. That was the next stop. A couple of cast members there had worked at Jungle Cruise, remember? And one hostess comes over. She's like, so you guys have been to Jungle, right? And we're like, no, that's where we're going next. She's like, oh, you're coming with me. And she waits,
that's right.
tells the manager, I'll be back.
That's right.
And she walks us up the exit. Hey, these are 2 skippers from the West Dock. Get them on a... So we were put on boats.
Yeah.
It was awesome.
They were very kind. I just remember that.
Great.
I remember that day. I got a little smidge jealous because you were having this big day. You had your barrel. You had like books in there, and everybody in the place was like, it's the barrel guy. Yeah. And I was just sitting there, and I remember one point they were talking to you about the barrel, and one of them turned to me and went, "Oh wow! So did you work Jungle Cruise too?" I'm like, "Yeah, I did a thing at Jungle. I did something."
He's Jungle skipper legend.
I did stuff.
Yeah.
But you can't be like, but I did things too.
Yeah. I remember that. It was good for my ego. And then I made it bad for my ego. But I remember paying the bill and she goes, "Wow, Marty, like the barrel." And my brain went, "Don't say anything. For once in your life, don't say anything." I look at you and you go, "Yeah, it's him." I'm like, "Oh, I feel better."
That's what I'm there for.
But I wasn't
him right there.
I wasn't being that cocky.
Although it's kind of cool. It would have been a cool move if you'd been like, "Huh, yeah, that's weird," and then left. That would have been a baller move.
That would have been cool. Yeah.
We went to, speaking of the parks, we've got our magic key. We're putting it to good use the past couple of weeks.
Rubbing it in.
I know.
That's all right.
Well, you snooze, you lose.
I literally did snooze and lose. That's literally what happened. Oh,
yeah.
No, I just want to say this real quick. Then I'm going to go back to you. I teased last week that I had stories about some drama at Jungle Cruise. There's a few more things I want to track down next episode. I absolutely promise. So I'll be February 15th.
Well, I'm excited to hear about all this.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
We were in the parks. And just last night, actually, we were at California Adventure for their Lunar New Year celebration. And apparently everybody else had the same idea, so we didn't eat any of that. And we ate random things throughout the park. It's funny because like once you go into the park, if you have a game plan and it doesn't work out, then you're just like a rat moving around the park, eating whatever scraps have the shortest line. So it was like...
Did they have special like Chinese food?
Yeah, they have amazing looking stuff.
Really?
I'm very excited to try it. I'll report back on it once we finally do.
So cool.
But we ended up eating like a lot of beer. And if you said this was your dinner... anywhere else, somebody'd be like, "Are you okay? Are you having an all right time?" Like we had like half a gyoza, we had half a burrito, we had a pretzel, and that's it. That was dinner.
That's the 4 basic food group right there.
That's right. That's what a depressed single person eats.
Does right? They sit in their room and just watch Sex in the City endlessly. Yeah.
What was I gonna say? I did come up with a new thing that I want to float.
Okay.
We were sitting in the wilderness area, which is one of my favorite areas to sit in.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
And by the way, speaking of people coming up and saying kind of thing about the podcast, a nice gentleman came up, and I remember him from Tiki Oasis. He was one of the people who asked a question on the podcast.
Live show.
Yeah, from the live show. Came up and said hi, and that was very kind of him.
Oh, that is awesome.
So if you're ever in the park and you recognize me and Dave, just remember, no eye contact whatsoever and 50 feet.
Ever.
Yeah.
Do not touch us under any circumstances.
Obviously, the last thing was a joke. If you ever see us out and about, come up and say hi. I am thrilled to bits whenever somebody does.
It's very nice. Just don't make eye contact.
No eye contact.
But it is. It's really nice because people don't have to say anything.
Yeah.
And they do. And I feel like honestly honored by that.
Absolutely.
I think it's very cool. Yeah.
So I was at California Adventure. We were in the wilderness area.
Yes.
Love it there. I think I came up with a new thing that they should try at the parks this summer. What if they just had one tube where it was the nude tube and you were allowed to just not wear clothes on it? You had to opt in, obviously.
I would never not be on that ride. That's probably
why wouldn't you go on that? Yeah, that'd be the best thing in the world.
Because kids with cameras, that's why.
Ah, well, you know what? That's the thing. If you go in there nude, you know the consequences.
I'd still do it.
I'd do that in a heartbeat.
But that water's cold though, so maybe I wouldn't do it. I need to know the temperature of the water.
That's true.
Because I don't want to be giving people the wrong idea.
They could have the regular line. They have lightning lane.
Yes.
And then they have the nude lane.
The nude lane.
Yeah.
What if every attraction had a nude lane?
I mean, there'd be a lot of messy seats in that park.
Well, you're supposed to bring a towel and set a towel down. It's only polite.
Is that what you're supposed to do?
That's the etiquette. Yeah.
Okay.
So you have a towel with you. It's like Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. You always have to have a towel. But imagine that. There would be people who would do that just to get on lines faster.
That's true. I never thought of that angle. If they have everything, a nude line is obviously going to be shorter.
Yep.
And you'd blow through that park.
Shoulder and below. You are just filling up the innuendo like
I guess
crazy.
So I didn't even mean
You tell
that
people,
one.
okay, Rise of Resistance. I have 3 options for you to get in Rise of Resistance. You can wait in line for 3 hours. You can pay $35 for Genie Plus.
Yes.
Strip down, butt naked, go right on.
That's right.
I'd be done.
Done.
Where do I throw my clothes? I'll just throw them in the bushes and come back later or not.
A 5-minute line on that ride would rise my resistance.
I've been working out for a year and a half. It's about time I start going to theme parks naked. That's all I'm saying.
That's another reason why you don't have a magic key.
That's
because
exactly.
They know that.
They know.
He's lost some weight.
They know.
It's going to be hot this summer.
They heard the Vegas incident in the
Hot
last
bod
episode.
summer at the park.
Exactly. Man.
So that's my thing I wanted to float out. I guess maybe since I was talking about California Adventure, this would be a good time to discuss the anniversary you mentioned, right?
Yeah.
Coming up?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, maybe Trevor can post this. You made a video
Oh, yeah.
for the Skipper Show years ago that was hysterically funny. And now it's a historical document.
It really
Because
is.
it represents a California adventure that no longer exists, but it shows you what it used to look like and how people thought about it.
Yeah.
That's the best part, is like how I used to love going there. There was a time I went there once right after it opened. It was so obvious we started to count. We saw more cast members than we did guests.
Oh,
And it was a lot of like leads in suits walking around with clipboards, all looking very nervous.
The glow up on that park over the years has been
Amazing.
drastic.
Amazing.
I love it. It's my favorite park now.
Yep.
I mean, next to Disneyland, obviously, but
Yeah.
it's the more fun park to go into because they have beer everywhere.
Yeah, right?
Although Disneyland's
More booze.
making its way.
It is.
We actually had a beer at Cathay Orleans the other week.
So what was that like?
It was
drinking beer out in the open.
fantastic.
Really?
It was so cool. Yeah, we had a nice spot on the patio, and the people watching was great. And we just came out with some tall beers that were $95
Nice.
each, and it was great.
I remember going to Club 33. That's a flex. And having a Sam Adams and looking out in the balcony.
Right.
And I'm like, I'm drinking beer at Disneyland. Of course, as a Jungle Cruise skipper, most skippers have had beer or booze
That's right.
at the park.
This was our first official beer.
First official, first sanctioned by Disney beer.
That's right.
It wasn't a bunch of skippers late at night pulling into the hippo pool for a little drinking party that I know nothing about. But it was cool, and now it's everywhere, and I guess that's fun. I can't wait to go buy an overly expensive beer.
It's a neat experience, and I'm sure
Yeah.
it'll expand as people get
Yeah.
more comfortable with it.
Yeah.
But what was it? Oh, yeah.
But DCA?
DCA. Yeah, a terrible park when it first opened. Yeah, I'll post that thing because it is really fun to see all
It
the
is.
crap.
But I like the concept behind it, that it was about, if you can't visit all of California, you can come to this park and see parts
Yeah.
of California. Like it had a farm section that
Yes.
Eisner wanted to be there. And they did a show about farming.
Yeah.
And they were trying to grow stuff. And I thought, all right, this is more like a country county fair kind of vibe, which is what they were going for. And I thought it had so many fun things. One of my favorite people ever, the late great Diane Doyle, came up with a bunch of shows. She did a show at the Redwood Creek Challenge.
Okay,
show. It had Native American performers, so she found like real Native Americans. They
Oh,
wrote the
wow.
show and created this whole thing. I saw her one time and she was a little mad. I'm like, what's wrong? She's like, well, I spent all this time, Disney spent all this money to put on this amazing show with these great actors. We worked on the script really hard to make sure it was accurate and respectful and fun. And I walked by because there was a cast member out in front of it. And I was in my regular street clothes. They didn't know who I was. I'm like, oh, what is this? And he goes, I don't know. It's some Indian thing.
God.
She was, I was so angry. I almost shook him. I don't know. It's some Indian thing.
I don't know.
Yeah, some Indian thing. I'm like, she's like, I can't. So she immediately went to a manager and like, yeah, that can't.
Oh my God.
This is like a great show. And there's actors and it's a whole thing. And you can't have a guy go, it's some Indian thing.
I was looking up some DCA stuff prior to this. And because my favorite ride that obviously does not exist anymore for great reasons, Superstar Limo. They got that thing out of there quick.
They did. I think it was like 13 months.
Oh, yeah.
It was there.
Yeah. Like a year and like 3 days or something like that.
Yeah.
That was a fast.
And the knock on California Adventure was that a lot of their rides were off the shelf rides.
Yeah.
Like Goofy's Sky School, which I predicted. Remember, if you hear me make a prediction, everybody, go to Vegas, bet the exact opposite, and you will make. By the way, I'm calling it 2025 Super Bowl champions, Las Vegas Raiders. I'm calling it now.
Oh.
Calling it.
Okay.
Put your money down.
No bias there.
None at all.
Yeah.
I make that prediction every year.
1 year it's going to be true.
1 year it's in this 2025.
Yeah.
That's our year. We've waited long enough. Where was I? Oh, but they bought a lot of off-the-shelf rides. Like Goofy Sky School was an off-the-shelf ride.
Yeah.
And I thought they're going to get rid of that piece of garbage. It's still there. And like the Silly Symphony was off the butt. That horrible sky wheel thing. That's the longest 20 minutes of your life is where you swing back and forth.
We were just in the park and John asked, have you ever been on that? And I said, yes, once. Never again.
Yes. I know a very, very tough skipper who I will not mention, and he almost was in tears.
It's terrifying.
It is horrifically terrifying, yes.
Why would anybody go on a ride where for 20 minutes you get the feeling of your basket, which has no seat belts or anything.
Nope.
Over and over sliding off of the ride.
Yep.
Into the bay.
Yep.
No.
Yep.
It's hellacious.
It's horrific. So a lot of them were off the shelf and people weren't happy that Disney wasn't creative. So the one thing they were creative about, Superstar Limo.
That's right.
So the one thing the Imagineers made just epically failed.
Well, apparently it was originally supposed to be like a high-speed chase where the paparazzi were chasing you and stuff.
Oh, yeah, I heard
And then
that.
Princess Di died in a high-speed chase like midway through planning the attraction. So they pivoted to whatever stars they had under contract in a slow-speed, crappy ride.
Right? I want a map to your house, Drew Carey. And so if you go to DCA, it follows the same. If you go to Monsters, Inc., it's the same car. It's the same ride vehicle. It's why it's got a little screen on it. Mm-hmm. If you notice, your ride vehicle has a screen because that was your agent calling you on your, on your car phone, let you know, oh, your premiere, hurry up.
Yeah.
Because you're in a limo. You can't hurry it up.
Faster.
Right? And so it's the same track. It's the same, the whole thing.
And that just shows you how bad that park was when it first opened. That was one of 2 attractions featuring Regis Philbin at the time.
Oh my God, yes. Oh my God. That's so true. Because Who Wants to Be a Millionaire?
Yeah.
That was huge. That show was everywhere.
It was massive. My favorite thing that I saw was the New York Times wrote a review about the park, but they specifically talked about Superstar Limo. I have it right here.
Oh my God, I can't wait to hear this.
The best quote from that is the New York Times, when talking about Superstar Limo, said, "Burn this ride to the ground and start over."
The best part about that ride is at the end, you're at your premiere because you're the star, you're the superstar. There's like all these flashing, but they take your picture, but you don't know it.
Oh, yeah.
You know, like a lot of rides, they take your picture.
I forgot about this.
And then you turn the corner where Roz is now going, I'm always watching.
That's a good Roz.
Thank you. Thank you very much. It's got a newspaper and it puts your picture in. It's like new star announced. And it was a picture of me and my wife, and we look so angry. like she's glaring off to the side and I look like I'm going to punch somebody. And we laughed so hard. And the cast member who's doing the exit, you could just see him deflate, just like, yeah, all right, I know what you're. and he knew what I was going to ask. I'm like, is there any way I can buy that photo? He's like, no, those photos aren't for sale. I would have paid $50 for that photo.
They would have made so much money.
So much money.
Because, never was there a photo taken on that ride where people were excited.
Smiling and happy. Yeah. It was the rage on our faces was just magical.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah. Dreams do come true.
Right?
That's such a weird park when it opened. And now it's just amazing. It's so good. Once they got rid of all the cardboard cutout crap and Whoopi Goldberg talking about dead migrant workers.
Oh yeah, the Golden Dreams.
Golden Dreams.
Yeah.
Which again sounds like something you can order at Glitter Gulch.
It does when you get your glizzy.
That's right.
Your golden glizzy.
That's going to be the running joke for the rest of the podcast. As I'm going to mention Glitter Gulch.
I thought you were going to mention golden glizzies because my oldest daughter said, I feel very uncomfortable that Trevor knows that word. And I'm like, why? She said, I don't know. I'm like,
it's uncool now.
We're going to keep using it now.
That's right.
Oh yeah.
Absolutely.
By the time anyone over 25 knows it, it's no longer cool.
Somebody commented on, I'd walked by the corn dog castles. I put Golden Glizzy Castle. And they said, I like to think of a corn dog as a bone-in glizzy. The Keo said that. It was.
Oh, that is so much worse.
It's so much worse.
So much worse. Oh, that's going to haunt my dreams tonight. I can tell you that. Wow.
What else? What else?
You could burn through every ride on that park in like half a day.
Oh, easily.
Yeah.
And they were purposely trying to, from what I remember, trying to discourage park hopping at the time. They wanted you to just stick it out.
You couldn't park hop for a while. And again, the late great Diane Doyle told me she was at a meeting with some executives, including Michael Eisner. And they're like, what can we do to get more people in there? and they were saying you have to lower the ticket prices. And they kept saying it's the same price as Disney, but it's got like half the attractions. And they kept hassling him, and he slammed his fist on the table and says, I will never lower the price on the park, because the second you do, it makes the park look less than and cheap. And it will never recover if you do that.
Well, it is.
It has to stay the same price, and we have to make it better, but we cannot lower the price because people will think it's garbage. And so they never did.
That's crazy.
They invested, but by now it's like almost $3 billion to upgrade it.
That's not a surprise.
No, they've pumped in a lot of money.
It's fantastic. And they make all that money back now on Food and Wine Festival.
How was the Fransokyo land?
I will tell you something.
What do you think? Because I like the Old Wharf area, so I wasn't happy. But I didn't think Big Hero 6 was that great of a movie.
I've never seen it.
It was
People love waiting in line to see Baymax.
Yeah.
Is its name.
He's funny.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I'm happy that they're waiting in line because there's less people in line for food in San Fransokyo.
That's genius.
I had the same trepidation. Is that the right word?
Yeah.
About San Fransokyo quickly becoming one of our favorite places to sit in.
That is great news. That's great to hear.
They did the best job they could retheming that place for what I'm assuming was not a large budget.
Yeah.
So it's great atmosphere.
Okay.
The food over there is fantastic.
Yeah.
That they've brought in, and they have like just this crazy K-pop, J-pop music loop going.
Nice.
And so like we just sit there and have a blast because it's just very lively and colorful, and the people watching's as always.
Can you still get the clam chowder in a bread bowl?
You can get.
I will burn that place to the ground if I can't get my Bowden's bread.
You can get a bread bowl.
That's the warning.
They had a Japanese curry in a bread bowl, and I'll tell you what, delicious.
All right.
Yeah.
Bowden's bread bowl?
Yeah.
All right, good.
Yeah, they still have the old bread factory tour.
Awesome.
You can walk through and see how bread is made.
Is it Ellen now? It used to be Rosie O'Donnell.
They really can pick those hosts.
They can. Because when she melted down, let's put Ellen because that won't go bad. Right. So like whoever the new actor is, you're like, 5 years from now, they're going to have
no, it's Maury Povich now.
You are not the father.
Yeah, I have not been on. In fact, maybe I'll do that next time. Get some free bread. Pro tip: if you go through that factory tour enough, you can make your own bread bowl.
You can. Yeah, they give you little chunks of it. Yeah, they used to give you a whole roll.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, I don't know what they give. They just tear off a chunk and hand it to you. I don't know what they do now.
It's very unsanitary.
Yeah.
It's a person with a wet cough tearing off pieces of bread and giving it to you.
They just throw a bread bowl out in the crowd and make you fight over it.
Like pigeons.
Exactly. It's fight to the death, just like in Big Hero 6.
Is that pivotal scene where they're fighting over
bread bowls?
Chunks of bread bowl.
The villain has all the bread bowls.
San Fransokyo was starving to death.
But I remember when DCA opened, there was like a huge brain drain from Disneyland because everybody that wanted to be a lead or a trainer or a manager, if you want to get promoted, you have to go to DCA. So the Jungle Cruise lost a ton of like good quality people that went over to DCA and like advanced their careers there.
I'll tell you what, and I think I've mentioned it before, but my favorite thing was just, and everybody did, bagging on that park when you were working the Jungle Cruise.
Yeah.
To the point where the leads told you, stop making fun of California Adventure.
Yeah. Which I didn't. I kept that up.
Absolutely not. I just didn't do it at the dock anymore.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I would just call it the haunted parking lot. Yeah.
Isn't that who said that? Was it Gurr or Sklar that said he liked it better as a parking lot?
I don't know.
Yeah, one of them.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That sounds like a Bob Gurr line. Marty Sklar would never say anything negative ever.
It must be Gurr then.
There could be arsonists burn the park down. Look at the flames. There's no magic like Disney magic flames.
That's right. They burn harder here at Disneyland.
That's right. They're magic flames. That sounds like a Bob Gurr line. Were we done talking about DCA?
I don't know do you have anything else to add to that?
I told the story about me working entertainment at Disney, right? Yeah. They offered us a ton of money to go be like guest control at the park when it opened, including those of us that were entertainment. We could have kept our entertainment like $40 an hour salary because they wanted bodies. Jeez. And by that point, I had caught the worst cold and I was so sick. I'm like, I just got to go home. So on opening day, I was there for some of the opening ceremonies and then I just went home. And I think about it, I'm like, yeah, I was really sick. I couldn't have stayed, but
ironically, most people did the same thing opening day.
After they were there. Yeah. I paid how much for this?
Oh, no.
Yeah. All right. Here's, but I think we both agree it's a much better park now.
I
awesome.
love it so much.
Yeah.
And there are so many things that have occurred at the park over the years that I miss now.
Yeah.
Which is weird because to me, that park still doesn't feel old, but it's old now. It's like decades old.
It's like, what, 20
something?
Yeah, 23 years old. Yeah. Because opened January of 2001.
Like I loved Electronica.
Yeah.
Like the first Disney rave.
Yep.
But that was just a blast. Mad Tea Party was
Mad Tea
also
Party was crazy wild.
Miss all that stuff.
Yeah. It was a lot of fun.
You could get away with stuff at that park that Disneyland would never try.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. And like different interactions with characters and stuff too. And the animation building was awesome. I would take my girls there when they were little. They would be perfectly happy just to run around that giant room.
Oh,
with all the screens, with all the songs, and they would just spin in circles and sing and dance. And I'm like, cool. I've done my dad duty. It's like 100 degrees outside. Let's go to the animation studio. And they would just run and have fun.
There.
And that was great.
There was a little kid when we were sitting beers at San Fransokyo Wharf. And this kid, this is why I couldn't have a child. Little small girl had given up on being alive at the park.
Yeah.
She was just rolling around on the cement under the tables.
Yeah.
And it was just the dad, like, in the most defeated voice I've ever heard. Like, come on, just get up off the ground. That's really gross. Just get up, please. And she wouldn't.
Yeah. My girls never did that. Never, ever did that. They were so, I don't want to brag, they were so good at Disneyland. Because I pulled the card. If you don't behave, we're going to leave. And I did it one time. Wow. And I was mad. But I had
Do they still remember that?
I don't know if they still remember it. I think they might, because they were both like in early elementary school.
Okay.
Like maybe one kindergarten.
That is a move right there.
And they were being brats and they were like trying to hit each other and they never act like that. And I said, girls, if you don't stop it, we're going to leave. And then like a minute later, they kept doing it. All right, we're going. And we started walking. No, Dad, we'll be good. We'll be good. I said, I know. Next time we come here, you'll be good. And all in my head, I'm like, all I have to do is once. Just do this once. Pull the trigger once. And ever since then, even now she's like, what, 19? I'm like, we'll leave. Okay, Dad, I'm cool.
What a move.
It was a power. I was very proud of myself. I screwed up everything else as a dad, but that one day, another thing, I was going to share this later. Can I show you this now? My oldest daughter was babysitting, and it's weird when you teach your kids something and then they do it and think it's what everybody does. But she was babysitting for our neighbors, and they were going to the Orange County Science Center.
Okay.
And so my daughter goes, Dad, I took the security photo just like you did of us.
What's that?
So what we would do before we went to like SeaWorld, any park, any place that was like a big place, I would say, girls, security photo. And they would both stand there. They couldn't make a silly face. They would just stand there like neutral. And I would take their picture. Because at Disneyland, when I worked there, I helped find lost kids a few times. And one time a mom was like, oh, our daughter, she's got her hair in a ponytail and she's wearing a big puffy silver jacket. So we were looking for her everywhere through Adventureland. A janitor found a girl sitting alone and crying. And she had her hair down and didn't have her silver jacket on. And the mom's like, oh, I forgot. That's not what she was wearing today.
Oh, no.
And that's when I knew I was going to be a dad soon. I'm like, oh, crap. You needed to. So every time I would so I have all these random pictures of my daughters just standing there like it's the old Wild West.
Smart.
So I take a picture of them. So I go, if they ever get lost, here, and it's on my phone so I can text it to Disney Security or Knott's or wherever I was.
Yeah.
And so it was fun to see my daughter do it. Yep. Security photo. And they just stood there.
That's wild.
Because I had a parent lost their kid and she showed me on her phone. Yeah. Like, that's what they look like.
So
we had it sent to security. Boom. Found them real quick.
Well, nowadays you have to pay an extra $30 to get your kid back quick.
You do.
Yeah. I mean, we couldn't do this back when I was a kid because the film would take weeks to develop.
Right. Here's what he looked like 3 weeks ago.
That's right. Oh, he's dead now. Ours was always just meet at the castle if you got split up.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
My family, it's meet at me. Because they can all see me from everywhere, which is weird when I'm standing there and then I see family members just coming out of the crowd at me. Like, oh, we saw you 2 blocks away. I'm like, thanks.
That's your nickname, is the Moving Castle.
That's right. The Howl's Moving Castle.
That's right.
Marley's Moving Castle. That's so good. Yeah.
All right. We just wanted to take, before we hop on to our next topic, a moment to shout out and thank all of our lovely Patreon supporters.
Yeah. Hey, tell them what you did with the most recent Patreon money. I'm very excited about this.
Oh, that's right. So we're getting ready to figure out what specific day we're going into the park for our Grand Circle Tour live stream for our Shriner level members. And because of all of you lovely folks on Patreon, we were able to get these cool little wireless mics. They're going to allow us to be able to talk and be heard while we do the live stream.
So we could do more of those.
And we can now record podcasts on the go.
And I'm just proud it's the first month that we didn't spend it on drugs. I'm really proud of us. We're making some steps forward.
Baby steps.
We're working our program. I'd like to give a shout out and a thanks to all of our hip skips, those the kind people that give us $5 every month to help us.
Yeah, it's essentially like the $5 level is like a tip almost.
Yeah.
And you get 4 extra episodes a year. And shout out to Team Palmer. Thank you for writing. They had a good idea. Maybe a little extra something for our lengthy hip skip subscribers. So we're working on a little treat for you cats.
Yep, we got it. It was an excellent idea. So thank you for that. We had a good brainstorming session. Let me thank the hip skips who are supporting us. I'd like to thank Ducky. What a great name. Our good friend Teeny Tao. Kim Medlin. Beyond the Railroad Podcast. Matt Hubert. Carolyn Price. Team Palmer. And Joshua Bell. Thank you so much.
And I am going to thank our $15 level, the Ancient Order of the Cambodian Shriners. Thank you to Skipper Sill, Sissy Von Rue, Natalie Ernst, Steve Reed, Wayne Stone Cipher, Ashley McGee, Rick Martin, Paula Malcolm Elhart, Sarah Malik, Lapu Lisa and Mega Grogzilla, Geo Trash Girl, Kristen Moore, Ashley Gallus, Jonathan 30acre, Darren Zakich, Terry Walker, Jim Chamberlain, Sent from Disneyland, Matt B., Nicole Clough. I'm going to go have an aneurysm now. That was a lot of people. Thank you. Oh, my God.
That was a lot of names.
That's crazy.
Yeah. Sissy Van Roo. We went to Waffle House last weekend.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
So thank you all for your support. It helps keeps the podcast a-rolling and lets us do cool stuff for you cats throughout the year.
Really does. We appreciate it. Thank you.
Have you heard of this? I saw this float by today, this stat. Tinkerbell, which, by the way, I'm sad. I when we were walking through the park the other day, it's so fun to revisit the park because we haven't had a pass in a long, long time. And it just kind of jogs all these old memories of working the park and being there for so long because you've been there. It's been in our lives our entire life.
Yeah.
But walking by Frontierland, saw the tower that Tinkerbell lands in. I don't know if she lands in there anymore. Do they just suck her back up to the...
I don't know how they do it because she flies up and down.
Yeah. But back in the day, it was just old lady on a zip line into a bunch of Teamsters holding mattresses, which was fantastic.
It was so fun to watch.
It was.
I used to take my trainees back there. I'm like, come on, let's go watch them catch Tinkerbell. And they're like, what? I'm like, just watch.
Apparently, and maybe it's different now, maybe this is the going rate when you had to, zip line into mattresses.
Yeah.
$500 a day.
Oh, yeah, easy.
Really?
Easy. When I worked Disney Entertainment, they paid me to wear my own shoes. I got paid so much. And then we were guaranteed, like on rehearsal days, we were guaranteed 4 hours of pay no matter what. And then on performance days, we were guaranteed 8 hours at like a much higher rate than our rehearsal rate. And so I remember I went there to do tours. I did one tour that was like an hour and a half long. I had like 10 minutes off. I did another tour. They said, okay, that's all we have for today, so you can go. And I'm like, I haven't even been here 3 hours. They go, oh, yeah, we'll just clock you out at like 6.
Dang.
So I was on the clock for 5 more hours. I made more working for Disney Entertainment for like, what was it? I was there 8-9 weeks than I did teaching for an entire semester back east.
God.
With a PhD in history. Yeah.
So yeah, $500 a day to get...
Easy.
I'll take that money.
Easy.
Good Lord. I'll slap on a little pink, little green sparkly dress and zip line down that
they're taller than you think they'd be.
Really?
So that you can see them.
Oh.
Because I thought, they're little. They're like under 5 foot. They're like, oh, no, they got to be like 5'8", 5'9".
Dang.
Oh, so you can't see them when they're flying. They have to be big enough.
Yeah, I guess so.
I'm like, huh. But they hit that mattress real hard.
She used to, man. Oh, my God. Probably disintegrated into pixie dust.
One of the books, and maybe a listener can tell me this, one of the many Disney books I read, there was a guy that used to help you. The original lady that did it was in like her 50s or 60s.
Yeah, she was old.
And they would catch her. And then there was a cast member whose job it was to get her down, let her change, and then walk her out to the bus because she took the bus home to it was like an hour-long bus ride every day.
Oh,
and if she missed it, it was the last bus of the night, and someone from Disney would have to drive her. So you had to run through Disneyland with this lady to get her to the bus stop on Harbor Boulevard on time. And I'm like, really?
Limping out of the park.
Right? She goes, it was weird. She'd run in, she could change real quick, and we'd just jog across. I can't remember what book it was, but
Why wouldn't she get a car? If you're making that kind of money,
right?
She can get a car.
Maybe she had DUIs. I don't know.
Maybe
she was,
that's right.
She was killing people, and that was her.
We're starting a bunch of vicious rumors about this nice old lady.
Tinkerbell has a dark side. That's all
true.
I'm saying.
I mean, seriously, she does. She tried to kill Wendy.
Yeah, with bombs.
That's
and like
right.
she said, and like the pirates after them.
Yeah.
But if you watch the Disney straight to video Tinkerbell movies, they are so good.
Hard murder noir movies, I think. Right?
No, but she's like fun and like giddy and every once in a while you just see this temper come. Oh, that's where it comes from. But I'm like, how does she go from this fun-loving, friendly pixie to just a murdering, evil little fairy? It's something they never explain what something snaps in that little fairy.
I think my theory is that pixie dust is essentially cocaine.
I think so.
And she's getting high on her own supply. She cleaned up by the time those direct-to-video movies came out. But
yeah.
Again, vicious rumors.
True.
Oh, my gosh.
So,
speaking of the castle,
yes.
This is a wild thing
that
I had never known.
Okay.
Our friend, I'm not going to name them on the podcast because I don't want to potentially disrupt money coming from the company for them.
Oh, nice.
But I had never heard this before about Sleeping Beauty's castle.
Mm-hmm.
And when we went last time, confirmed it. There's two things I'll share.
Okay.
Let me know if you've heard these. So, of course, nowadays the castle is all vibrant and pretty. But like if you go back into the 50s and look at the photos, it's a much more desaturated color scheme on the castle. And apparently, the thinking when it first showed up in the 50s was it's Sleeping Beauty's castle, but the original intent was like almost a forced perspective.
Yeah.
As you enter the park,
you
have the front gates that guard the castle. You'd see the castle in the distance, and they had like the spires for the church and stuff.
Yeah.
Like multi-layered.
Yeah.
I'd never heard this before in my life. I didn't know that it was supposed to look like a kingdom forced perspective from Main Street. Had you heard this?
Yeah.
Really? I had no idea.
But they built it before they even had been working really hard on Sleeping Beauty.
Oh, really?
So they kind of made the castle. This is what it might look like.
Sleeping Beauty's castle.
So it doesn't look like the one in the movie.
Here's where it gets fantastic.
Okay.
So the front gate with all the defenses, they built in some of the actual like historical defenses a front gate for a kingdom would have.
Really?
There are little slots where people would have their arrows fire out of along the front gate. And my favorite feature is the murder hole that's right past the drawbridge. So if you go in through the drawbridge, there's the first gate that they would normally, they pull up the drawbridge, they'd lower that gate. But if people actually made it past all that, they have double gates, front gate, and then shortly after that, a second gate where they would lock the marauders in, and there's a hole up in the top where they would pour hot oil down.
And there's really a hole up there?
There's two holes. There's one hole in the double gates, and then there's another one that they've put a light in, but there's a Sleeping Beauty murder hole.
No.
Where they pour hot oil. And there's actually one right before the front gate, too. If you look straight up, there's a little slot that they would pour hot oil down, too, as well.
Wow. I had no idea. I got to check that out.
I'd never heard of this before, and I was thrilled to bits. They took the time to put a way to murder people.
Anaheim in the 50s was much rougher. It was a rougher time.
Once that park was closed, if you were there, gates locked, murder hole activated.
That's right. Welcome to Thunderdome.
Now for the most dangerous part of our show, the return to civilization. If you've enjoyed the show and want to show some support while also getting some adventurously good extras, visit patreon.com/The Jungle Podcast. Also, if you could be so kind as to follow the lads on Instagram, I know they'd be thrilled. At Dr. Skipper Marley and at the.Trevor.Kelly. See you hip skips next time in The Jungle.